The first time I saw Hannah standing outside my auto shop with a folded job application in her trembling hands, I laughed for exactly 3 seconds. By sunset, I would regret every one of them. I had spent years convincing myself that broken engines were easier to fix than broken hearts, and the lonely garage I owned in Columbus, Ohio, had become my hiding place from the rest of the world. When my beautiful neighbor stepped through the open garage door looking determined despite the fear in her eyes, I smirked and foolishly thought I was making a harmless joke. I told her that I needed a wife, not an employee. Her smile disappeared so quietly that I almost missed it, but the disappointment in her eyes stayed with me long after she walked away. Before we continue, if you believe that kindness can change lives, that hope deserves another chance, and that forgiveness is stronger than pride, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, leave a thoughtful comment, and subscribe to the channel so we can continue sharing stories that remind us of the good still left in this world. My name is Nathan, and at 41, I believed I had life figured out. My marriage had ended years earlier, my parents had passed away, and my garage had become both my livelihood and my excuse for avoiding people. Customers respected my work, but no one really knew me. Every evening I watched my neighbors from a distance, especially Hannah, who lived across the street with her elderly father, Walter. She was always smiling at people, always carrying groceries for someone else, always finding time to help others even though she looked exhausted. I admired her kindness but convinced myself she was simply another cheerful person who would never understand someone as guarded as me. The next morning I noticed Hannah loading boxes into her aging pickup truck. Walter suffered from severe arthritis, and climbing stairs had become nearly impossible. Medical bills had drained their savings, and Hannah had quietly lost her office job after the company downsized. She wasn't looking for charity when she walked into my garage. She simply wanted honest work. I realized my careless joke had humiliated someone who had gathered every ounce of courage just to ask for an opportunity. That evening I found the application she had accidentally left behind on my counter. It wasn't filled with impressive qualifications or fancy achievements. Instead, it listed reliability, willingness to learn, and a handwritten note at the bottom that read, "I just need a chance to keep taking care of my dad." Those simple words hit harder than any wrench ever could. I had spent years complaining about loneliness while someone only a few houses away was carrying burdens far heavier than mine without asking anyone to rescue her. The following morning I walked across the street before the sun came up. Walter answered the door with a warm smile despite obvious pain. Hannah looked surprised to see me standing there with her application in my hands. I apologized without excuses. Pride had made me think I was being funny, but kindness required admitting when I was wrong. I offered her the job, promising to teach her everything about the business if she was willing to learn. She accepted with quiet gratitude rather than excitement, and somehow that humility made me respect her even more. The weeks that followed changed my garage in ways I never expected. Hannah organized the office, greeted every customer by name, learned how to order parts, and even started studying basic engine repair after closing time. Customers who had once rushed in and out now stayed to chat. Local families recommended our shop because they trusted not only our work but also the warmth they felt walking through the doors. Walter often visited with homemade cookies, proudly watching his daughter build confidence she had nearly lost forever. For the first time in years, laughter echoed through my garage louder than the sound of impact wrenches. One rainy afternoon a young couple pulled into the shop after breaking down on their way to the hospital for the birth of their first child. Money was tight, and the repair was more than they could afford. Before I could decide what to do, Hannah quietly suggested we fix the car anyway and let them pay whenever they could. Years earlier I would have refused without thinking. That day I simply nodded. Watching their grateful tears reminded me that businesses could repair more than vehicles. Sometimes they repaired faith in humanity. Months passed, and I slowly realized that the woman I had once embarrassed had become the heart of everything I had built. She never demanded recognition, never reminded me of my mistake, and never treated my apology as something I owed forever. Instead, She showed me every day that second chances mean little unless they are followed by changed actions. Walter's health improved with proper treatment, our shop expanded, and I found myself looking forward to mornings instead of merely surviving them. If this story has touched your heart so far, please support the channel by liking this video and sharing it with someone who still believes that compassion can transform ordinary lives. Your support helps stories like this reach more people who may need hope today. Before we reach the ending, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment and tell us about a moment when someone gave you a second chance, or when you found the courage to give one to someone else. Your story might encourage another viewer more than you realize. 1 year after Hannah first walked into my garage, I stood beside the same front counter where I had made the worst joke of my life. This time there was no pride, no fear, and no walls left between us. I thanked God for turning my careless words into the beginning of something beautiful. I had once believed I needed a wife instead of an employee, but life gently taught me a far greater lesson. I first needed to become the kind of man worthy of either. Hannah smiled with the same quiet kindness that had always defined her, and together we built not just a successful business, but a home filled with faith, laughter, forgiveness, and purpose. Sometimes the greatest repairs don't happen beneath the hood of a car. They happen inside a human heart that finally learns the true value of humility, compassion, and love.